Welcome to the last Tuesday of every month. This is our first pet webinar of 2026. And that I'm very excited because it's January 27th, 2026. And I had an opportunity, I don't even know how long now, Gerard, but we have known each other for a while. Fellow equine therapist, he's an equine chiropractor. And I was in Calgary doing an event, and I got a phone call from this gentleman named Gerard who said, I'm really interested in this technology for horses. I just have some questions. And I said, well, what if I came out to where you're working on some horses and I give you a demo? He said that would be fabulous. So as fast as we met, I was out there meeting him in person. So that was pretty fabulous, actually. And I just want to share with you a little bit about Gerard and I've been an equine body worker for over 20 years. And I'm going to let Gerard let you know a little bit about his history because it's pretty impactful and important working with people and then horses. But one thing that I noticed when I saw him working with animals is he was intentional. He was listening the whole time to the animal and really observing and his technique. Oh my goodness, I loved watching your technique. It was similar to what I did, so it really felt like we had a great communication with what we did and the biomechanics with the horses. I have been with LifeWave now for 5 years, and the reason that I am here is because my horse severely injured herself. And I took a look at this technology, which I'll go into how it works, this and that. Gerard and I are going to do that together tonight. And I was not getting the results I needed for her to stay on this planet. She had severed down to her joint capsule through tendons, ligaments, and the swelling was so severe, her repair just stopped because given the right tools, our body's repair mechanism is phenomenal. As you'll know, Gerard will talk about it, when we can align the body so it can communicate efficiently, it's amazing what can happen. Now, her swelling was so severe, that all stopped. The communication was not happening. And so with that, I was introduced to LifeWave technology. The reason I took a look at it was because we lost Gerard here, but I know he's going to come back. The reason I took a look at it because they had done a clinical study on horses. And so I said, okay, I've got to take a look at it because I was looking for something. I was looking for tools to keep my horse on the planet. And when I applied this, well, first of all, when it showed up like this, a tan and a white, we'll talk about it, I was pretty skeptical. And I think Gerard was as well, but that's okay. I placed this on my horse's leg and all the swelling that was there for over a month was gone in a day and a half. That's when everything started moving forward. That's when I started to see repair. Now, I want to just fast forward. I saw potential. I started using it on clients' horses. You're going to see before and after responses and how quickly they are. So I'm not going to go into that much detail. But what I can say is I saw this as a tool that I could offer clients, offer you, offer pet owners to be able to use this without the presence of an animal professional. What I didn't know was that 8 months later, my horse's injury that should have taken over a year to 2 years and never fully sound for me to ride properly was fully sound in 8 months. And my story is not on its own. It's not isolated. We're seeing this over and over and over again. Case studies and case studies. So I'm really excited that you're here tonight. Gerard, please, let them know a little bit about, you started in the human field and then said, my goodness, I need to go to the horses. No, but if you can just give a little bit of your background, it's so substantial, a little bit of your history of who you are, and then just share your experience of when you were introduced to LifeWave.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting. Looking forward to doing this again.
I know. I'm excited.
I've been passionate about horses my entire life. One of the first utterings out of my mouth as a youngster was on family drives and pointing out horses as we saw them. So my entire life, as I said, I've been passionate about them, and I never actually got to own one until I was, well, maybe close to 20 years ago. And I had this beautiful mare that took care of me and taught me all kinds of things. Unfortunately, 3 years into our relationship, she came up lame. And a couple of veterinarians couldn't figure out what was going on. And a couple of body workers couldn't figure out what was going on. And I ended up having to retire her to an acreage. She could no longer be ridden. Um, Fast forward, I had been working on people for a number of years. It ended up being 34 years in total. And I was always looking for excellence in myself, always taking on new education every year, and so that I can better serve people. And I got to thinking about my horse that I wasn't able to fix, well, because I knew nothing about fixing horses. And then these other people that I hired couldn't fix them as well. So I started taking courses on biomechanics and anatomy with horses, just to have an understanding, really. And then from there, I went and took chiropractic and learned the ins and outs. And it was there that I realized that I could have fixed my horse if she was still around. And from then, just by word of mouth, I actually started working on dogs before horses. And then word of mouth, I just slowly started working on horses. And eventually, uh, almost 4 years ago now, I retired from working on people and I solely work on animals. Um, Super rewarding. I mean, working on people was very rewarding as well. And sometimes I get coerced into still working on people. Um, and I do enjoy it. Um, but yeah, then last spring I suffered a very severe accident. And then when I was just getting back to work and not doing a lot, but getting back to work is when I met Tina last June. And that's when I experienced for the first time the little patches that we're all here to talk about. And so I happened to be working on a horse that I had troubles with for 8 years. And it wasn't that I wasn't able to treat her, it was that I wasn't able to treat her fully because she was very guarded. Didn't matter what I did, didn't matter about my horsemanship skills or anything. She was just always blocking. And Tina very wisely put these patches, the LifeWave, in an area just on her hind end. I think actually you put the E on first,
Yeah.
on her forehead.
Mhm.
That's right. And we watched a miracle happen before us. This horse literally began to relax and lower its head. And then it was shortly after that that Tina put the ice weight patches on. And in no time at all, this horse was totally relaxed. And it was by far the best treatment, the deepest treatment that I've ever been able to give her. It just completely changed her attitude. And that's when I thought, okay, there's something to this. And so I used them a little bit in June, a little bit in July. I went away on vacation, and it was when I came back. And on July 24th is when I began using X39, Eon, and IceWave on a regular basis on myself. And I haven't stopped. I've changed it up a little bit here and there, just playing around with things, but I've been consistent every day. And it's made massive changes in my life. Um, I think tonight we're here to talk about the animals, so we won't talk about me. But I try and use them on horses wherever I go and dogs, and it's having remarkable changes for them.
Mhm. Fantastic. I love it, Gerard. And yeah, we're not here to treat, cure, diagnose. It's a wellness company. We talk along symptoms, but when we put, if we look at light as the signal, light is the signal for all communication throughout our body. If you really think about it, and yes, we are here to talk about animals tonight, and we're going to bounce between human and animal. I looked at this company and I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be fantastic. People will want to use these for their animals. And I was right. But it was so quick when they saw the experience on the animals that they said, can people wear these? So just to know, LifeWave in AccuLife for horses, they did the clinical study with LifeWave. And then they put the product out to market for horses after they did the horse study, and they renamed it AccuLife. So LifeWave and AccuLife are the same product. We're choosing, and we're going to share that tonight. We're choosing to use Eon, and then I also choose to use X39 as well on the horses, and we'll, as well as other animals, right, Gerard? But as we go
Absolutely.
along tonight, we're going to share our case studies with this and what we've experienced, right? Just like you can't put on pregnant or nursing mothers or on children. There's no clinical studies within that. The only clinical study that LifeWave did was with AccuLife IceWave. But we're looking at that, and we'll share a little bit of why I chose to start using X39, and we chose to start using Eon with that as well. So I will bring up the PowerPoint, and we'll start there. All right, so as you can see, there is a tan and a white with the, and for purposes of naming, just as we just kind of let you know, AccuLife and IceWave are the same. So I'm going to use the verbiage of AccuLife as I talk about this two-part patch technology. And as you can use it while you're riding. You can use it when they're out in the field. This is what I love, is the ease of it. It's not me finding another 15 minutes in a day to do another session. It's me placing them in specific locations on their body and letting the technology do its job. So, of course, living well isn't only for people, but I just want to quickly give you just a background of David Schmidt, who's the founder and inventor, because he created this technology. He started out creating this photobiomodulation technology using light frequency to signal our body's repair mechanism. It's kind of like the signal that comes from the sun. When it hits us, it's not the sun that's creating the vitamin D. It's actually communicating a specific light frequency that signals our body to make the vitamin D. So if we think of those processes with this patch technology, is when we place these on our horses, it's signaling with light, the horse's own infrared light, to create the body to signal to make what it needs to improve. Now, he has over 200 patents. You know, this is a patch technology. Yes, when I saw it, I was skeptical, but I'll tell you, there is science and evidence backing this. That is why we're moving into a billion-dollar company, because this technology is impactful. It is changing our animals' lives. It's changing the owners' lives as well. And it is over 200 patents. You know, somebody has a couple patents or even one patent, and that's a pretty complex thing to do. We are backed by clinical studies. The evidence is there. But really, David started as a consultant for the U.S. military, and he created energy enhancers for the U.S. Navy SEALs. So that's the background of it. It's a company that's been around for over 20 years. Do you want to talk a little bit, Gerard, about what happens when there's pain and inflammation in animals, and what you found with that, and you know, your insight into that?
Sure, absolutely. Similarly to people, horses, some are more stoic than others. Some will definitely show pain immediately. Others, uh, they may not show it, but there's ways of getting them to speak, if you will, that will show up. And it shows up by me manually testing them with my hands and finding where they are sensitive, where they might be misaligned, or where they have misaligned in the joints, that is, um, and where there might be muscle pain, muscle inflammation, that sort of thing. It's very evident in most horses when it shows up. And then once I apply the ice wave, um, literally within, excuse me, 2 to 3 minutes, they demonstrate not showing any or very little inflammation or signs of discomfort. It's kind of like if somebody touches you on a spot that's tender and it's obvious, or that, you have a sore finger and you constantly bump it. That's kind of like what it is. And then you apply the patch in the case of the horses, and literally within 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes less, their pain response disappears.
And we can see that really visually. And what I want to add to that is this is a thermal imaging photograph before and after of the application of AccuLife within the clinical studies. So they quantified the effects of the patches through a visual image here. And so the top photo is where there's purple, white, red. Those are the high temperatures, and when there's high heat, there's inflammation. And after the application, you can see below that and only with one set, a tan and a white on the top line, so on the back of the horse. So 10 minutes later, that's what happened within the whole body of the horse. And when we say a marked difference, and I know you know how to read horses, Gerard, you can actually even see, so we can't see this with our eyes, but we saw a few things without seeing what it was doing inside. So this gives the inside view as well as our observation on the outside. But if you're looking at the way that the horse is standing at the top photo and then down below, what would be the indications people would notice after they've applied the AccuLife?
Well, you would see quite often the level of the spine seems to be raised a little higher, because when the body is relaxed, then it can go into a more comfortable position. Whereas if it's tense and has inflammation, it's going to be tight and constricted. And by releasing all of that, they're naturally just more relaxed. And then their head begins to lower. The when a horse is most comfortable, it's eating. Being a flight animal, then they're not feeling alarmed at all. And in the case of clinical areas, lowering the head is a sure indication of more comfort.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And all that pain is a blockage in the flow of energy throughout the cellular structure, the bioelectrical. So that's how this technology works. It opens that flow. Like Gerard and myself, we use our hands manually and physically to open that flow of energy. But what we do find with this is we don't have to fight through discomfort in a horse anymore, right? We actually can get that flow going before we even put our hands on them, and that's pretty exciting. These are the clinical studies on pain and inflammation conducted by LifeWave. They did two, 2005, 2011. They had 175 horses, and one study was placebo controlled. There were 0 affected horses in the placebo group. You can't placebo animals. So I do love it when people say, well, this feels like, is this a placebo? This can't be true. This is happening too quickly. And I say, no, it's not a placebo. The horses have proved it for us. But then my thought is, what if it was a placebo and you're feeling good anyway? Wouldn't you just want to just enjoy that? But I just want to tell you, it is not a placebo. There was over here, and there was 142 horses that demonstrated and responded dramatically to LifeWave energy patches. In this study, 137 out of 138 horses with mild to severe back pain responded favorably. I don't know what clinical study has ever had 137 out of 138 respond favorably in the realm of medicine. I don't know. Not to say that it doesn't have its place, but when we're doing light-backed wellness here, it's pretty exciting when nothing is going in the body, how we're able to impact and support our animals like this. Because, Gerard, we know what happens when we put things in the body to lower pain and inflammation for horses. Can you touch on that a little bit? Because that can, what have you seen with horses sometimes with that?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I'm not quite
Yes,
sure.
like if we have to put stuff internally into our horses for pain
Hmm.
and inflammation, we also usually have to add something that protects their stomach because it can be pretty uncomfortable for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different pharmaceutical products, everything from deworming to pain medications and stuff. And yeah, they can be very difficult on the digestive system. So certainly probiotics help.
Mhm.
Um, that was I would say that's the biggest one is probiotics
Mhm.
and prebiotics.
Right. And with this, because we're just activating by light, we don't have to worry about any of that.
No.
So these are the, a lot of times people will say, where do I put them? I don't want to do this wrong. It's systemic. You won't do it wrong, but please take a picture of this. This is the location that they did in the clinical studies to get the 137 out of 138 positive responses. So if you can just do these ones, you're going to be able to help your animal. Now, pretend this is a dog, pretend this is another animal, and just use it in those similar locations like this.
Mhm.
I know that for myself, the first photo is one of the main ones that I usually will patch a horse. Are there any other ones that stand out for you, or would you? I see you're nodding because I have a feeling it's a similar spot for you as well.
Yeah, I definitely use the first one for sure on pretty much every horse.
Mm-hmm.
And then the area that's called the pole, the bottom right, just in behind the ear. I often use that as well.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Now, how the technology works, we have been talking about it as we're going along, but it's stimulating the body with low level light. What I want to tell you about this, because it is that unique, is if you looked at the photo that showed the thermal imaging, we all emit light. Horses emit a vast amount of light and energy, not seen by our naked eye, but what LifeWave and David has done to create this to work. It's got a crystal lattice, it's non transdermal, it's a specific sequence of amino acids, oxygen, um, water. It's nothing's going in the body, but when you place it on your horse, their infrared light reflects into that and then gets reflected back into their body in a specific frequency that activates this light therapy. So when we can increase the flow of energy through the cells by stimulating acupressure points, they're like the fiber optics of the body. And did you want to touch on a little bit on this as well? Gerard?
Um, I feel like you're speaking to it. The only thing I can say again is just to reiterate how the energy flows through the horse. Once you get the AccuLife on them, like I say, within just a few minutes, the energy is flowing in such a way that it's quite profound how effective they are on the horses and how quickly um, that they react to it. And keeping in mind that, again, you can't placebo a horse. It either works or it doesn't. And
Yes,
it does.
it does. It really, really does. Yes. Now, I know we're talking about AccuLife as we bring up IceWave as well, because in Canada we don't have AccuLife, we use IceWave. Eon is one that I chose to use because I saw the results in myself. I saw the results in my family. I saw how I felt calmer, and then I started hearing whenever somebody put Eon on their animal, they just tended to just be a lot more relaxed when storms came around. They didn't seem to respond the way that they did before. They weren't as shaking. And I had one friend who said, I lost my dog in the house. Her dog was so fearful. All he did every day was follow her around by her ankles, like she would trip on this dog. We put Eon on her dog, and she lost her because the dog went into another room and finally fell asleep on its own. Like those things are happening, and it's very, very exciting. And then X39, as we've won Stem Cell Innovation of the Year award, X39 was something that I really looked at when I decided that I was going to really take care of my horse. And so you know, when we can, when we have like Celergize with X39, it is known to optimize and upregulate our dormant stem cells with our peptide GHK-Cu. So this is a double-blind testing of the X39 patch to determine the production levels of this specific copper peptide. Now, I went a little further because I want to share with people. I put in there and I did a white paper on the benefits of this particular peptide and horses and what happened for that. And that's why I chose to put these on my own horse. And that is why I have my horse. And we'll show you some things. So I have a white paper. Please reach out if you want it. You are welcome to have it. It just gives the benefits of it. Activating fibroblasts of collagen, elastin, modulating inflammation, downregulating specific inflammatory genes, stimulating a word that I'm not going to try and say for you guys today, and accelerating wound healing. So there's a few things here and they're sourced. Now, the next one is actually my horse's injury. So if you have a weak stomach, please look away, John. And this was before, well, this was after we debrided it. We found her lying down in the field. She was in a state of shock. So we had the vet out and we stabilized her. But when we got her stabilized, I went to work in my own wellness toolbox. And that part was LifeWave. With an injury like this, you should see a lot more scar tissue, white hair, all of those things. Gerard, if you saw an injury like this, would you expect it to look like this 8 months later?
Not at all. Because I had a horse with almost identical.
Wow.
And it looked way worse. And unfortunately, I just had to put him down a year ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And there was, so the range of motion came back too. The range of motion. And so usually when you get that bulkiness, I should not have had this curvature here. It should have been more bulky, but no white hair grew. There is a bit of scarring into the hoof wall, but never an issue with that. This one was interesting. Have you seen this one, Gerard?
I have, yes. It's remarkable.
So eye injuries, when we have lacerations in the eye, also not to say claims or diagnosis, but usually the eye tends to eat away at itself. And you need to definitely have drops of some sort from your vet. This was from, and I think she's here, Dr. Sylvia is here. She chose to use the technology as well as some other things. But 6 days later, this horse is, and if Dr. Sylvia is here and you want to unmute super quickly, if I believe this horse is 29, or am I like in his 20s, and I think late 20s. So the repair for 6 days, and we do have other photographs of the process of it where it actually started to come out of itself. And then usually at that point I was told that they usually remove the eye, and they didn't have to remove the eye because it did start to repair within itself. Now,
yes, that horse was 29 years old.
29 years old. I knew you were here. Thank you so much, Dr. Sylvia. So we get to collaborate. She's given me a lot of fantastic case studies with that. But usually with something like that, I'm so grateful that you were able to use the technology there. These are some before and afters. This is my horse Cowboy who cut his face open, and I chose to use the AccuLife as well as Eon, and then also X39 on his face to repair that. There was quite substantial swelling, and within putting this on, instead of putting something internally to help with his swelling, I was able to dramatically drop it. And I don't have a recent picture, but you can't see where he had cut himself open to his skull. And he has completely repaired back. No bulkiness there at all either. And this is another mare in her 30s. Her hair started to not shed out, and we chose to use the X39 and Eon on her, as well as this Palomino horse over here not shedding out properly. So we're finding that there's vibrancy coming back into the animals. So this is really about upregulating our body's potential to act in a younger state to be able to repair itself. Spartacus got his foot caught in a hay net, and by the time they knew, he had lost all circulation below that cut. He was never. We were actually really concerned he was going to lose his hoof wall, and he never did. We patched with that combo, and it turned out, and because sometimes they're like, where do we put it? You can put it on the body, but sometimes we choose to put it in direct location of an area of issue just to give it a little extra frequency love. But the feathers on the leg of the injury grew in thicker than the other three, and he should have probably had a lot more white, and he didn't get any white hair scarring with this. We have a lot of case studies here. We have this young colt filly. She had to have 25% of her, it's a coffin bone removed because it was deteriorated. So something had happened. We don't know what, but it was never, we were told she wouldn't be really sound to ride, and she is back to her regular self. These are the things that we're seeing, and these are in 4-week increments. We also want to hear from you guys. What we do have, which Gerard, I'm going to bring up, you're going to talk about Tina, not me, a different Tina. But we have Affordable Light Therapy for You Facebook page. So you can see it here. Go look for it. Whoever invited you here, ask them to invite you to this page. And if you have any animal stories, we want to hear from you. We're going to open it up to a Q&A in a moment. But what I want to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to bring up a couple videos so that you guys actually can see. And I think I haven't even had time to look at them, so I'm so excited. But Gerard, do you want to just give a little bit of an insight? Like, I met you. I would never have met you if it wasn't for LifeWave, and I didn't meet you I met you through like a sequence of 4 different people. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, we have this beautiful relationship where we can call each other up. We're helping each other out. We're talking about all these things. And you introduced me to Tina. Yes. And can you tell me a little bit about her as well?
Tina Watkins unfortunately could not make it here tonight. She's a busy lady. She's a wife, a mother. Her and her husband have a farm, and she's an equine and canine body worker. She's probably in Alberta one of the top body workers there are. And I knew this. I've known her for quite a number of years. And I believe it was in July or August, I approached her. And it took, I don't know, 3 months or something before she said yes. But Tina Colter gave me tons of help. And now it's T&T and G. And Tina is loving the LifeWave products. And she's using them for herself. She's using them for her own dogs. She's using them for her dog clientele, her horse clientele, and is telling everybody she can about them. She can see the difference. She can feel the difference. She is on top of it as far as the equine world in particular. As a matter of fact, I'm joining her in April. We're doing a hind end dissection at the University of Calgary on a horse. When? In April.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, I'll give you the information right after. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So, you know, this is a person who puts her everything into whatever she engages in. And I'm happy to be a part of her team on this side doing the body work, and especially happy to have her on our team with the LifeWave. Anyway, yeah, so she also recently got a very prestigious award in the equine world for her contributions in horses. And so, yeah, very happy to have her as part of our team.
Yeah, awesome. All right. So what I'm going to do, and this is the only way we could do it, is Gerard sent me a couple of videos that Tina had given him doing the demo on some of the horses. So I'm going to bring that up so we can take a look at them. I've not done it this way before, so we're just going to see if it's going to work. All right. So we've got that here, and then if I wonder if I can make these. There we go. We're gonna.
Oh, that's me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna watch a baby cow get patched right now.
That was this morning.
Oh my gosh. Is this for being patched, or are you just showing me?
No, I actually I didn't patch this little fella. It's only 8 days old.
Oh my gosh.
And anyway, comes from extremely well-bred pedigree, and it had to be pulled from the mother, through her uterus, and it encountered all kinds of trauma. And when I first put my hands on it, the poor little thing just quivered and shook and almost dropped to the ground just by barely touching it. But by the time we were done, he was totally comfortable, and he was definitely showing his appreciation and didn't want to go anywhere but stay right there.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna watch that video later.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a different one. This is good. Okay, we've got what we're looking for. Thank you.
This is Tina Watkins.
So as you can narrate
Yeah.
what's going on here.
Yeah, so you can see, so this is something that we all do. We go along both sides of the spine, looking for ribs that might be misaligned. We're looking for muscle tension, muscle discomfort, and then the horse will demonstrate where it is sore by quivering, by moving, and showing its discomfort.
And that's a substantial one there.
It is a substantial one, yeah.
So now okay, go ahead.
So now we have just a couple of minutes later, and she's put the ice weight just like Tina Colter described earlier, where we often put them, and you can see there's no reaction.
And all of us, we do it. It's so the poor horses. We just go even more going, see, it works.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got another one here.
Yes, Tina again. So she's pressing on trigger points in the hip area. There you see the discomfort. And that's basically the horse going into a pelvic tilt to try and avoid the pressure because it's sore.
And then you can see that she's applied
the ice weight.
Yeah.
And she's pointing them out. Now she's just simply applying pressure. And now she'll begin to draw down the hind end. I don't recall what she's saying there.
I know I have it on mute. Do you want me to turn the volume up?
If you want to, yeah.
The sides popping up very, very similar. And this has only been on for 30 seconds, maybe not even a minute. But we do see the contraction up top in the back here with a lot of fasciculation. He's just struggling so much with that core tissue. And then if I show you the flexion, I'm just getting him to stand on both hind legs here so we get a good representation. So then we can see here that he's able to bring that pelvis pretty square with those patches on. Thank you. Okay, Donna, so
what she was trying to demonstrate there, I remember now, because on the first one, when she did it, the hips were not balanced and the horse pelvic tilted, but it wasn't balanced side to side. And then after the patches, it was balanced.
Perfect. So the movement is what we want, but it was more of both sides of the body were in communication with that.
Right.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being here and to sharing that, and also for sharing that with the other Tina, Tina Watkins. I shouldn't say the other Tina, it sounds less than, but she's fabulous. And yeah, you know, we gave her the information, we were doing all of that, and it just took her a bit to take a look at it. I'm grateful because we're here tonight to share this with you for your animal, for your horse, your dog, whatever that is. We choose to use it on all of our animals. And we're also growing our community. I want to say light workers. I love saying that because, you know, you're shining your light out there, Gerard. We're impacting a lot of horses. But without you, I don't know, you know, I wouldn't want to not work with you with this. But the more people that spread this message, the more animals we can impact out there. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.